Íslenska stafrófið, the Icelandic alphabet. This is a video for those of you who are learning Icelandic, are just interested in hearing what the Icelandic language and the alphabet specifically, of course, sound like coming from the mouth of a native. Or maybe I'm just curious about how this strange Nordic language sounds in general. I've made a couple of videos at least about the language, plan to do more in the future. It's been a while since I made this one, where I talked a little bit about the strange sounds we Icelanders make when we speak. And I thought the other day when that came across, I was doing some browsing through some of my old stuff, why not make a more comprehensive video, let's just call it comprehensive, I'll get to that a little bit further down, but a more comprehensive video where I go through the entire Icelandic alphabet from A to Ö, pronounce the letters and give examples of words with those letters in them and talk a little bit about the peculiarities around some of these, the letters we've added to the alphabet, as well as the one we've actually omitted or skipped. This being said, I mentioned comprehensive. I should of course put now in the disclaimer that I am not an academic. I have no formal teaching credentials or theoretical credentials. So please just take this as an example from a native speaker with close to 50 years experience speaking natively. Just my examples, my pronunciations, my own selection and choice of words to use as examples. Here we go. So what I want to do is just first off run through every single letter of the Icelandic alphabet from A to Ö, just give you the name of these different letters. I'd then just like to mention briefly the international or at least English letters that we've skipped and that we don't use and what we substitute instead. And then I want to go again into the entire alphabet from A to Ö, first to last letter of the Icelandic alphabet, and give examples of words with pronunciations and discuss some nuances when they are appropriate. So let's dive into the actual alphabet. A, Á, B, D, Eð, E, J, F, G, H, I, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, O, P, R, S, T, U, U, V, X, Y, Y, Þ, I, Ö. So, if you were listening for the letters C, Q, W, and Z, or which some people pronounce as C as well, you won't find these in Icelandic. The Z used to be a part of the language until a few decades ago when it was dropped out or skipped. We just substitute an S. We just use an S for us. It's always an S sound. We've never had the W. The W we actually call a double V, and we always substitute a V for the W. In Icelandic, there's no difference. There are no differentiations in those V sounds, which require the use of the W, like in some other languages. The Q we don't use, and we just use a K instead. And the C we don't use either, so we substitute a K or an S for those different sounds if I compare to the sounds of the English language. Then of course we have those unique Icelandic letters, which I think I did cover in that previous video about the strange sounds of the language. We have Eð, Þ, I, Ö. The Eð and the Þ are soft and harsh versions of the th sound, which is the TH in English. The Þ is the harsh one, where you push the air out of your mouth. The Eð is the soft one, where the air is kind of more released through the teeth, so it's a or through the tongue and the teeth. The I is a combination of an A and an E, making an I sound pretty similar to an I in the English language. Ö is an O with an umlaut, I believe that's called, and this is pronounced Ö. First letter is A, and I actually want to mention a slight nuance or a peculiarity right away. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Icelandic vowels. So all of the main vowels, A, I, I, O, U, and actually Y, which we call upsilon. They all have regular or unaccented and accented versions of them. These are treated as individual letters in our alphabet. They have their own sound, they have their own place in spelling in various words, with an interesting exception. Words containing NG or NK, which are preceded by a vowel, are spelled in written form with the unaccented version, but are actually pronounced with the accented version. And we'll see a few examples of these. There is a dialect spoken in the northwest by some people, a handful of people, where they actually pronounce it also using the unaccented version. But for the mainstream Icelanders, we write the unaccented, but pronounce the accented when the vowel is succeeded by an NG or an NK combination. I know this is complex off the bat, but let's listen to some examples. A, Anna, Ari, Mart, Langur. Anna, Ari, Mart, Langur. Á, Ár, Rán, Ár, Rán. B, Baldur, Abbabab. D, Dýr, Davíð, raddir. Dýr, Davíð, raddir. Eð. Eð is a peculiar one. Eð only appears inside of a word or at the end of a word. A word cannot start with an eð. If there's that th, English th sound at the start of a word, it's always thop, the larger one, the harsher one. So there are no words in the Icelandic language that start with an eð. That being said, here are examples containing eð. Það, maður, orð. Það, maður, orð. Ekki, eldur. Ég, jél, mér. F. And F has a peculiarity here as well. So you'll see that in some particular cases it's pronounced like a B sound in Icelandic, and you'll see that in the second word. The first word, frost, it's an F sound. But in this word, which means harbors, hafnir. I don't say hafnir, I say hafnir, hafnir. And this is because it's succeeded by that N. And I think in every case where you see an F succeeded by an N, it gives that B sound instead when pronounced. Next letter, G, Gunnar, flag, flagg. And you can see that G can be pronounced both as and a h. And even though flag has two G's and flag has only one G, you can also see various words where there's only one G, but it's pronounced either with a harsher k or with a softer h. And I can't actually tell you what the rule is behind that. I think this is just one of those things which you learn through usage and time. And perhaps some scholars out there can prove me wrong and give us the actual rule for it. Without further ado, on to the next one. Há, húð, hurð, hvalur. And here's another peculiarity. There are words starting with H, V are not pronounced like an H. They're pronounced like as if they started with a K. So hvað, hvalur, hvítur. We pronounce that hvað, hvalur, hvítur. I know, we're strange. Inni, ylur. Ívar. Mín, tími. Jóð, Jakob, jörð, mjöður. Ká, karl, ekur, ekki. And here we can hear that singular cow, which is k, ekur, and the double cow, which is ekki, has a more of a chopping sound to it. Same thing applies to the next letter, which is the L, which has both a L sound and a L with a clicking sound almost, which can be mostly described as a DL or a TL to English speakers at least. Lás, lím, halur, halli, halli, 2 L's. You can also say halli in some particular cases, which would also have 2 L's, but in other cases it's pronounced halli with a more of a chopping DL-ish sound. M, mamma. N, núna, nám, hann, hún. Ó, ormur, morð, ostur. Ó, Ólafur, tól. P, pabbi, epli, happ. R, rabarbari, rós. S, sól, assa. T, tími, flatt, tak. U, undir, hundur, þungt. Here's another example of the NG coming into play, making the U sound like an U sound. U, úr, lús. Vaff, valur, vél, ævi. X is an interesting one. X exists in the Icelandic language, but we also have no words which begin with the letter X. It's only there inside, or I think almost always at the end of a word. Some of these words are adopted words from English or other languages, but others have a longer history, at least within the Icelandic language. X, kex, box. Upsilon E. Upsilon E and Upsilon E are basically talking again about the Icelandic vowels, the unaccented and the accented version. They have no pronunciation distinction from an I, an E, and an E, the accented and unaccented and accented versions of the letter I. So we pronounce Y exactly the same way we pronounce I. However, the differences are shown in spelling. So in some particular cases we use Y's rather than I's when we spell. Upsilon E, yfir, lyng. Upsilon I, ísa, fíll, ýlfra. Þ, Þór, alþingi, þrífa. Æ, ægir, æla, æfing. Ö, ösp, lönd, öskra. So this was a quick overview of the Icelandic alphabet. I hope it helps somebody who is trying to understand how these strange people up in the North Atlantic speak. If you have any questions, comments, please just put them in the commenting section below, and I'll see you in the next video.